Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Oncothyreon First Quarter 2015 Financial Results Conference Call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Later, we will conduct a question-and-answer session, and instructions will follow at that time. If anyone should require assistance during the conference, please press star then zero on your touch-tone telephone. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. I would like to introduce your host for today's conference, Ms. Julie Rathbun, with Investor Relations. Ma'am, you may begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to Oncothyreon's Financial Results Conference Call for the first quarter of 2015. With us this afternoon are Dr. Robert Kirkman, Oncothyreon's President and CEO, and Julie Eastland, Oncothyreon's Chief Financial Officer and Vice President, Corporate Development. In the first part of the call, Ms. Eastland will review Oncothyreon's financial results for the first quarter of 2015. After that, Dr. Kirkman will review Oncothyreon's corporate and pipeline highlights and discuss upcoming milestones. We will then open the call to questions. Before I turn the call over to Ms. Eastland, let me first remind you that during this call, we'll be making a number of forward-looking statements. These forward-looking statements include Oncothyreon's expectations regarding the use and adequacy of cash resources, future expenses, clinical development activities for ONT-380 and ONT-10, the filings of an IND for our CHEK1 inhibitor, and other preclinical development activities, including potential development of products using our protocell technology and potential partnerships for expansion of the protocell technology into additional fields. Forward-looking statements involve risks and uncertainties related to Oncothyreon's business and the general economic environment, many beyond the company's control. These risks, uncertainties, and other factors could cause Oncothyreon's actual results to differ materially from those projected in forward-looking statements. For a detailed description of these risks and uncertainties, you're encouraged to review our annual report on Form 10-K filed with the SEC and other official corporate documents filed with the securities regulators in the United States on EDGAR and in Canada on CEDAR. I would now like to introduce Julie Eastland, Oncothyreon's Chief Financial Officer and Vice President, Corporate Development. Julie?
Thank you, Julie. As reported in our press release today, net loss for the 3 months ended March 31st, 2015, was $7.9 million, or 8 cents per basic and diluted share, compared with a net loss of $9.6 million, or 14 cents per basic and diluted share for the comparable period in 2014. The $1.7 million decrease in net loss was primarily attributable to the difference in the change in the fair value of the warrant liability of $2.6 million, offset by an increase in research and development expenses of $1 million. As of March 31st, 2015, our cash equivalents, and investments were $77.5 million compared to $63.7 million at December 31st, 2014, an increase of $13.8 million, or 21.7%. The increase was primarily attributable to the net proceeds of $22.4 million from the closing of concurrent but separate underwritten offerings of common stock and Series B convertible preferred stock in February 2015, partially offset by $8.2 million of cash used in operations during the 3 months ended March 31st, 2015. Before I turn the call back over to Bob, I'd like to provide financial guidance for 2015. Please note that we believe this guidance to be correct as of today, but that circumstances may change, and we assume no obligation to update this guidance. Oncothyreon currently expects operating expenses in 2015 to be lower than in 2014, which included the upfront payment to Array for the exclusive license to ONT-380. Oncothyreon currently expects cash used in operations for 2015 to be approximately $35 to $38 million. And this concludes the financial update. Let me now turn the presentation over to Oncothyreon's President and CEO, Bob Kirkman. Bob?
Thanks, Julie, and thank you to everyone joining our call today. I intend to keep my remarks short today and focused only on the most recent developments and on upcoming events. Since the American Society of Clinical Oncology meeting, or ASCO, is now only a few weeks away, I want to focus particularly on ONT-380 and what you can expect to see from us regarding this compound at ASCO. As a brief reminder, ONT-380 is a small molecule inhibitor of HER2, a highly validated target in breast cancer. Our development program for ONT-380 is designed to take advantage of two features of the molecule: the potential for an improved tolerability profile based on the lack of binding to EGFR, and the potential for activity in the central nervous system based on demonstrated preclinical data. It's also based on the knowledge that HER2-targeted therapy is essentially always combination therapy in clinical practice, and it's therefore important to demonstrate the tolerability of combination regimens. We are conducting 2 clinical trials of ONT-380, one in combination with Herceptin and Xeloda, and the other in combination with Kadcyla. Since the San Antonio Breast Meeting in December, at which we presented preliminary data from these 2 trials, we have continued to actively enroll patients in both trials. At ASCO, we will have 2 presentations in the Saturday morning poster session devoted to HER2-positive breast cancer. The first provides an update on our trial of ONT-380 in combination with Herceptin and/or Xeloda. There are now over 30 patients in this trial, and importantly, we have enrolled more patients in the triplet cohort about which we had minimal data in San Antonio. This triplet cohort is relevant because that is the combination we plan to evaluate in the randomized trial we expect to start later this year. Based on our current plans, that trial will be a randomized, blinded, placebo-controlled trial comparing ONT-380, Herceptin, and Xeloda with Herceptin and Xeloda in patients with HER2-positive metastatic breast cancer in the third-line setting. We've been working very hard on the design of this trial with extensive outside consultation. We've assembled a steering committee of world-renowned investigators with expertise in HER2-positive breast cancer. We currently expect to finalize the protocol for this trial during meetings at ASCO and look forward to sharing more details with you at that time. Our second abstract at ASCO is specifically focused on patients with evaluable metastatic disease in the central nervous system. We've combined patients from both of our trials for this abstract. It will include patients who have asymptomatic lesions which have not been previously treated, as well as patients who have progressed or developed new lesions following prior treatment. And over 20 patients will be included in this presentation. We look forward to presenting our ONT-380 data at ASCO. And in that regard, please let me point out that the abstracts, which will be available this week, do not contain our full data set. Those abstracts were submitted in very early February, not long after the San Antonio meeting. The data cutoff we will use for our posters was actually late last week, so the data we will present will be significantly more complete. Our intention is to share those data with you via press release on the day we make the presentation. We're excited about our progress with ONT-380 and very committed to taking it forward as our first priority. However, there's a lot more going on at Oncothyreon, so let me turn now to some of our other programs. With respect to ONT-10, the ongoing trial in combination with varlilimab from Celldex is progressing as planned. The first cohort, which uses a lower dose of varlilimab, is fully enrolled, and the Safety Monitoring Committee has approved moving to the higher dose cohort. We expect that to enroll very quickly, so this trial is very much on track. We're also making good progress with our protocell technology. Our focus remains on the 3 areas in which we hope to obtain proof of concept during the current year. The first is in oncology, where the goal is to demonstrate specific targeting of protocells to tumors. Such protocells could then be used to deliver a variety of payloads, of which we think the most interesting may be toxins. Our second focus area is rare genetic diseases, where the goal is protein replacement either in the liver or in specific tissues. And our final focus area is the use of protocells for the in vivo transfection of T cells with a chimeric antigen receptor. As we've discussed before, we think it may be possible to use protocells to deliver the nucleic acid encoding the chimeric antigen receptor directly to the T cell in vivo, avoiding the entire ex vivo expansion and transfection process, and in effect, creating an off-the-shelf CAR T cell product. We've been continuing to have discussions with potential partners for our protocell technology. We have a good understanding of the data we need to obtain to facilitate these partnerships in particular areas, and I think we're making good progress toward obtaining that data. I'm pleased with the level of interest in the technology to date and continue to be excited about the potential for significant business development opportunities as we go forward. Finally today, I would like to take the opportunity to thank Jay Venkatesan for his contributions to Oncothyreon over the last 9 months and to wish him well as he moves into his next role leading an as yet undisclosed company. I've enjoyed working with Jay to integrate the protocell technology into Oncothyreon and look forward to continuing to interact with him in his ongoing role as a major shareholder. That concludes our prepared remarks today. Julie and I would be pleased to answer any questions. And operator, you may begin the Q&A.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, if you have a question, please press the star, then the number 1 key on your touch-tone telephone. If your question has been answered or you wish to remove yourself from queue, you may do so by pressing the pound key. Again, if you do have a question, please press star, then 1. Our first question comes from Ren Benjamin of AC Wainwright. Your line is open.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking the questions. I guess just a couple. First, with the ASCO abstracts, can you tell us if we might be seeing any PFS data in this, or will it continue to be mainly clinical benefit rate and response rate?
It'll primarily be clinical benefit rates. We will give you some information about how long the patients have all been on the drug at this point, but we probably don't have enough information to give you a well-defined PFS at this point.
Got it. Okay. And then just in regards to the randomized pivotal study, I know you're going to be finalizing the protocol, around the ASCO time period, but can you give us, do you have any thoughts in regards to whether you'll be looking at OS as a primary endpoint, or is there some other endpoints that are being discussed, or would it pretty much be the standard acceptable endpoints by the FDA like OS?
Well, obviously we want endpoints that will be acceptable to the FDA, but normally in breast cancer trials the primary endpoint is PFS, and that would be my expectation in this trial as well.
And do you have a sense of the delta that you might be, looking for in terms of this trial?
I'm not prepared to get into that level of detail at this point.
Okay. Just one last question, Bob. Just the discussions with the partners. Can you give us any sort of color as to what these partners, what more they might need? Is preclinical data or IND-enabling studies enough, or would they require clinical data, or is it a mix?
None of the people we're talking to are expecting to have clinical data in the near term with respect to protocells, so it's largely focused on specific preclinical experiments, and it varies by the partner that we're talking to depending on their field of interest. And that's probably as much as I can say at this point.
Great. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you do have a question, please press star then 1 on your touch-tone telephone. At this time, I see no other questions in queue. I'll turn it back to management for any closing remarks.
Well, we thank you for dialing in today. We look forward to seeing many of you at the ASCO meeting and updating you at that time on our data with 380. Thanks a lot. Good afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your participation in today's conference. This concludes your program. You may now disconnect.